Hello everyone, this is part 3 of your lesson. What you need to, this is the lesson that tells you how to present your work on PowerPoint or on Google Slides. Now, all you need to do is open your existing Metrajeanson project on PowerPoint. So remember the first lesson we did this, then last week we did something like this. And then today it is presenting your next page, which is the development page and your final outcome. Now I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. So first of all, I'm just going to press enter and that will create my new slide. Then I'm going to add a new title, which is development 2. Remember, I do want you to keep the theme in terms of how you design it quite similar all the way through so that it makes sense and so forth. And then I want you to open your inbox and you should find your emails that you sent to yourself. So that should be of your screenshots. Okay, so I'm just going to go and open that. So remember we did this edit. So I've changed the lips in the end. Remember I mentioned that I'll change it because I didn't quite like it. So that's what I've done. So I'm just going to open those images and copy this over. So I'm going to copy this image and then paste it down. And then do the other one. Tune image, that was the last one. This is the one previous, copy image. So I'm going to move this to the side and paste it over. And then what I'm going to do is move this to the end. I'm just going to resize it. First I'm going to group it. And now that is grouped, I can resize both of them at the same time so that I don't have to keep resizing one by one, which is just not really ideal way of doing things. So the earlier screenshots that I sent myself, those emails, so what I will do is open that email and paste it in along here. I'll do that a bit later, but because I don't want this video to take too long to sort of show you how to do it, because we've already done this before last week's lesson. So essentially you should have the continuation from here. I do want to include the orange lips that I done in the edit on the phone, because I want to show the examiner that I've assessed how I did my edit and how I decided to change it to another lip, because that one was more suited to the kind of current composition. It works with the color frame, or it works with the color tone and so forth, and it kind of looks a little bit more realistic. So I do definitely want to include that, which I will show in the example on the actual PowerPoint slides. Okay. So instead of me having to copy and paste or create a new text box, what I do, I go back to development 2 page and copy the text box over and paste it in like so. And then what I do is just, because that would just simply keep the text size and that information, so that way I don't have to resize anything. So what I'm going to do is annotate my work. So how did you edit? And you're just going to talk this through. So here I have edited my photos using, and if you don't remember the name, just go back onto the lesson guide, which will give you all of that information. So if you scroll from page 31, it should show you all of those names. So for this one, it would have been the view edits tools. This one was the double exposure tool, which I'll include there. So I have edited my photo using double exposure tool. And then you can explain why did you use that. I use this so that I can layer mask the internet images on top. This allowed me to play with the opacity tools, which also shows that here, if you remember, this is the opacity tool. Okay, and I'm just going to put that back in there. There we go. And opacity tool so that it does not look like a double exposed picture. Okay, and then you just carry on explaining how you created your work. And remember, the text size needs to be maximum 11. So try to do that and respond to these questions. So I've only answered the first bit, how did I edit my work? So why did you do it that way? So why did we do it that way is because we want to make sure that it's not double exposed picture. We want it to look like Metrajeanson's work. Does it respond to artist style of work? So far, yes. But then, you need to carry on all the way to the end and explain how that works, how is it responding to it, and so forth. So for instance, Metrajeanson uses paper, but for instance, here you want to make it digitally, so you're doing it in digital format, okay? So that's development 2 page, which is just quickly demoed how to do it. So opening your inbox, email, copy and paste the image over, annotate your work for each of the screenshots, and it should show beginning to end. Okay, I've only shown the end bit, but I will show you the actual beginning part in the PowerPoint presentation that you guys have. Okay. Then the next page is the final outcome. So for that, you're going to title it as final outcome. Then you're going to open your inbox and find that final edit picture. So here I've got one open already, and what I'm going to do is open image. Oh, you can just download it. So I'm going to save this image just so I get the full quality of it rather than just copy and pasting it. So I'm going to go to documents, and I should find Metrajeanson folder, and I'm just going to call it final outcome, like so. And then what you're going to do, you're going to open to your documents folder and find that Metrajeanson folder again, and then you just drag and drop, which is very, very straightforward. So you're going to look for that image, which is this one, final outcome, and drag and drop, just like that. Okay, then you're going to resize this so it fills up half of the page quite nicely. Leave some gaps so it looks a little bit modern. Here we go. Right, and then in the annotation, you just need to simply explain how did you do it, why did you do it, and so forth. So when you're annotating your work, I've noticed a lot of people just write a couple of sentences and then done, and then send the work to me. And I've noticed that you haven't actually fully answered the questions here. So you just need to make sure, have you checked your prompt questions? Are you answering them? Because if you don't answer it, you actually don't end up getting the full marks or the grade that you need to pass. So don't create extra work by sort of not doing it fully, because I would end up emailing back to you saying, you haven't quite finished this, please can you improve this and send it to me before the end of the week. And you don't want to create extra work for yourself, especially when it's coursework stuff. It's easier if you get it done 100% first time so that you can focus on the next task. Okay, so annotating your work. What did you do to get this outcome? So briefly explain this, because in your screenshots here, you've already kind of explained in depth what you did, but you just want to just sum it up what you've done. So for this edit, I have used Snapseed to edit my photo with other images taken from the internet. These images are like photo shoot where the model or subject, you could say, has been retouched in a lot of detail. Okay, and then you can even start talking about the next question. Why did you capture a picture in this way? Okay, and then you can then explain, I took my picture in central. This is key words you need to be thinking about. Central composition, so that my subject is the main focal point. Okay, and and then I edited to create. Okay, what is the message you are trying to convey? So I've already explained the message that I'm trying to convey. I'm more focusing on the LGBTQ community, thinking about gender, how the social media pressure, how gender should behave, when it should be a freedom of choice of how we want to behave, no matter what people would think. And it's not about trying to get yourself accepted by the society, but just sort of being yourself and enjoy being yourself without feeling left out in the dark. So those are the kind of message that I'm trying to convey in my picture. And it's okay to do these things. It's okay to not have perfect skin. It's okay to want to wear makeup, whether you're male or female. It's okay to dress up in the way you want to. It doesn't matter what color you dress yourself in. And sort of just challenging boundaries of what traditional thoughts might be, or cultural thoughts might be, or whether it's religion and so forth, that is stopping that subject from expressing his true emotions. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of the meaning behind my work. So when you're thinking about the meaning behind your work, I really want you guys to go into depth and really think on another level. Okay, so and try to convey that. So do you think you've conveyed that successfully? And to be honest, I think my edit, I think that I've conveyed that quite successfully, where it meets Metrajeanson's style of work, where I've used images from the internet, like that as like specially photo shoot ones, and I put it on top of my subject. Although I didn't use paper, but I think the kind of response that I've done in a digital format has been quite successful. It's quite refined, it's quite neat. So when you're analyzing your work, think about what you think that's done quite successfully. Is it in central composition? Is the exposure level quite similar to Metrajeanson, where it's not too saturated? The color is quite hospital-like, quite clinical. So think about how you're doing that, and how could you improve this further? What did you learn from this? Now, how can I improve my work? Maybe I might want to have I would have liked to obviously experimented using paper and cut out magazines and actually stick it onto my subject. So sometimes I might have magazines or newspapers at home that I can actually use. So maybe that's one way of experimenting my artwork further. Or it could be for you guys, maybe refining it a little bit more. Maybe the exposure level might be too bright, or whichever you think that doesn't quite meet the success criteria. How could you, what else, what did you do, what did you learn from this? So I think everyone must have learned something from doing this piece of project, that idea of challenging what is beautiful and what is ugly, what can be, what is accepted in society from social media and all that, what kind of pressure that social media has put on not just male, female, but also the younger audience like yourself. What kind of pressure have you got from looking at social media? Do you ever feel like you've been pressured to wear, I don't know, the latest pair of trainers, the most trendiest, to have the most trendiest watch or phone, and all of that stuff? Like, is it material things to make yourself seem more higher? So these are the kind of things you can also talk about as well, making you more more conscious about the things that's going on in the society right now. So yeah, so essentially this is how I want you to edit your present your work. Just make sure that your writing, the text size is maximum 11. So here I've just checked, and if I move it size 11, you can see how much more space I have to write, and it should fill right down to the end. Here I've just sort of talked about briefly for each of those questions that's listed on here, which you will also find on the PowerPoint slide, which I'll take you down from that point there. So yeah, try to give it a go and explain in detail. If you're stuck or anything, just give me a shout. I'm here. And if you feel like you want to try a different app to do this, or you have GIMP or Photoshop to do it, you can also do it on there. Entirely up to you. Okay, so good luck guys, and I'll look forward to receiving your work next week. Bye.